Madam.
Yes, sir.
Hey, before we go in live, can you just let me know the
Oh, we are live. We are live now.
okay,
Uh,
just the conversation I had with you this morning, just let me know when
yes,
you want me to bring it up.
exactly. After our discussion with the secretary, I think we'll have time for that. It should be quick. All right. All right, everyone. Greetings for those of you here and those of you who are here virtually. Senator Mary Washington, Chair of the Baltimore City Delegation. This is our Friday hearing/discussion. This week we also will have a briefing. And our next official voting session is this Monday at 4:15 in the J, should we need it. Today, we're going to hear two bills. One is Senate Bill 816, West North Development Authority establishment, with Senator Hayes, and he has a witness. Are your witnesses here? Chad Williams, Executive Director.
Yes, and Christy Turner.
Okay, and then also a hearing on the Senate Bill 818 having to do with the requirements around the state center, which is a big issue that we all address. A roll call. Actually, I can do a visual roll call if everybody just says here. I can see you're all present. Okay, I see everybody's here. All righty. Senator Hayes, would you start with our bill hearings will officially start?
Yes,
Senate
indeed.
Bill
And
816.
thank you so very much, Madam Chair, and thank you, colleagues. This morning, the West North Avenue Development Authority is not something that you guys aren't familiar with. The focus of the West North Avenue Development Authority has really been around building physical infrastructure. And so the focuses have been transportation, economic development, housing, and things of that nature, really around the physical infrastructure. Probably a year or so ago, Delegate Warlick, who is a member of the Montgomery County delegation, had a strong interest in connecting communities through social engagement. And she came to West North Avenue Development Authority because, in her efforts to try to identify a state agency that had a micro level focus in communities, she could not find that in a state. West North Avenue Development Authority is unique in that it is, it's really down boots on the ground in the community. And so it had the ability to really impact communities, to measure and to demonstrate that social connection. And so what this bill simply does is expands give the development authority the ability to spend some of its already existing funding on social connection activities. It's not asking for any additional funding or whatever. There is an amendment. Instead of, I think it was a cap of like $500,000 a year, is like 150 a year for these social connections. And that's simply what the bill do. I will wrap it up right there and turn it over to Chad Williams, the Executive Director of the West North Avenue Development Authority.
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman and other senators. It's always good to see y'all and interact with you. For the record, Chad Williams, Executive Director of the West North Avenue Development Authority. And I'm actually going to turn it over to our Senior Policy Analyst, Christy Turner, who actually did the work with Delegate Wallach on that. So I'd like for her to give more highlight to the bill and actually get credit for her work on doing the bill. So that's one of the things I like to do at my agency. Go
It's
ahead, Chris.
a good leader does that.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and other senators. Again, my name is Christy Turner, the Senior Policy Analyst for WNODA. Senator Hayes did a really good job at kind of summarizing, how we came to this bill, and, what we seek for it to do. I think largely, as he mentioned, we've been focusing on physical assets, and now after engaging with our residents and community members for a series of years now, this was something that we involved them in, and they voiced their concerns, and we actually adjusted, the language in the bill based off their needs. So we're further supporting the work that they have already been doing. And we think that's important as we're trying to revitalize an area. It's important that we also consider, how do we strengthen neighborhoods, not only for current residents, but as we're looking to attract other residents and businesses to this corridor. So social cohesion and community identity is very important to our revitalization efforts. Thank you.
Great.
That concludes our testimony from the authority.
Okay. So again, we're not establishing, this is not, just to be clear, not establishing something new. This has been in effect, and it's an extension of existing work.
Yeah, what I would say, Madam Chairwoman, is that, one of the things I like to do is make sure that we are doing work that's intended by the law. And obviously, we know what housing development is, economic development, transportation, green space, neighborhood development can be kind of convoluted. And so what this bill does is really articulate and define what neighborhood development is at a micro level, and particularly supporting CDCs, neighborhood associations, cultural events, engagements around our green space. It doesn't preclude us from what we've already been doing with neighborhood development funding and making sure that CDCs and neighborhood associations that are tied to a capital development project receive funding. And that's what I've been limiting our neighborhood development funding to at that time.
Do anyone are there any questions from the body? Feel free to jump in if you do.
No, the only thing I'll say, Madam Chair, is this bill and the next bill that we've heard has already been heard by the Committee of Jurisdiction.
Oh, sure. I mean, we're
we're
on schedule.
We're working through it.
Sounds good. I think one of the things I've been very interested in the low income housing tax credits and the use of those in the city, et cetera. Is the authority currently, or does it have any relationships, or is it working with any entities that are supported by our state program or directly by the program with HUD?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say specifically with low-income housing tax credits, but what we do is we work closely with state DHCD, with CORE, with Bernie, obviously now the Baltimore Reinvestment Initiative, obviously the Catalyst Grant with DHCD. And what we do is we want to make sure that those funds are coming up first in the structuring of the deal, and that WNOTA provides the subsidy to close the gap so that developers have more of an interest in doing development along West North Avenue. And so that's what we try to do to make sure that we're good stewards of the state's funds.
Right. So some of the developers will be using those existing programs. I'd like to provide an opportunity for us to understand, how these things work when I have an opportunity. So some of them are already, some of your partners are already part of the housing partnership, investment partnership.
Yeah, so primarily on the single family development of acquiring vacant and blighted homes, they're already working with state and city DHCD on leveraging those resources. And then we determine on the back end what the subsidy gap is, and we provide that so that we can meet a certain number of vacant housing units per annual year. I believe our goal, and Christy can correct me, we have a goal of somewhere 34, 35 single family homes per year that we want to address. And as of to date, in this current fiscal year, we've either developed, acquired, or have in a pipeline 100 homes, and that's only in 3 fiscal years of operation, which will conclude this June. Great.
And Senator Hayes, I think, and others, it's a great opportunity that we have the secretary here, because North Avenue is also Route 1. Isn't that correct, Senator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the highest traveled bus routes in the state.
Yeah. So we'll be, it's good for you to be here, Secretary Thomas, where we're all going to provide an opportunity to make sure that you continue your growth and understanding the centrality of Baltimore to the region's transportation system. Unless there are any other questions, that would be the conclusion of the hearing. Next bill.
All right. The next bill is Senate Bill 818. We all know that State Center development, which is about 248 acres in the middle of our city, has gone through different iterations of change. In 2017, there was a piece of legislation pretty much binding the state of Maryland to a collaborative effort with the State Center Alliance. That nonprofit organization, State Center Alliance, will comprise of all of the various neighborhoods in the area, has since gone defunct. And so this bill is an update on that legislation, naming the organizations, the local community organizations, as well as the local anchor institutions, to make sure whatever comes of State Center has the input and feedback from the community and the surrounding neighborhoods around there. And so we're forming the State Center Advisory Group to help inform what happens at State Center. We've been working in partnership with Maryland Department of General Services, Medco, as well as Maryland Department of Transportation. As you know, State Center is a huge transit hub. They not only have the metro, they also have the bus, and they're right adjacent to the light rail. Is anchored by some significant Baltimore institutions, whether it be the University of Maryland Medical Center Midtown campus, the Baltimore Museum, the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, as well as it's the headquarters for the Maryland National Guard. And so with all of those anchors, it's also a big hole of concrete and steel in the middle of a community, right? And so I'm joined this morning by my partner in this, the president of the Bolton Hill Community Association, which is probably the most adjacent community to State Center. As we go about this, we want to make sure that whatever future development come to this area is well informed. So in addition to the 240 something acres of land, we also will contemplate a future for a couple of other parcels of land that will be disposed of or experience redevelopment. State Center complex is right adjacent to McCullough Homes, which is one of the largest public housing complexes in the city of Baltimore. And so we have been, we'll be in conversation with HABC as they have already had a visionary plan to look at what they would do with their housing development. It's also right adjacent to the Briscoe School, which once the completion Frederick Douglass High School is done and reopened next fall, the Briscoe School will be empty. And so there's a lot of property in this area that's publicly owned assets that can help contribute to the cohesiveness of community. And, I guess we could refer to a State Center as like downtown adjacent almost. But without further ado, I do want to turn it over to Mr. Lee Taney, who's president of Bolton Hill Community Association, for any remarks. Lee, you're on mute.
Mr. Taney, thank you. Could you tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, and then...
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Hayes, and thank you, Madam Chair. My name is Lee Taney. I'm the president of the Bolton Hill Community Association, and I've lived in the neighborhood for 45 years. Was involved with the last reiteration of this project to help revitalize the State Center. And State Center is more than a big site with some buildings in it. It's a major transportation hub. And as the senator referred, it's a center for several of our cultural institutions, which he mentioned, also including, Arena Theater and UB Blake Center and the University of Baltimore and MICA. And in addition, in our neighborhood, we have Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. I don't want to get that wrong because of the senator. And
that's not something you want to do.
I know. I got to get my Kappa straight, right?
That's okay.
Okay, and Prince Hall Grand Lodge too, which are a very significant part of the Bolton Hill neighborhood. And I think as the senator referred, right now the senator is a barrier between our neighborhood and Mount Vernon and the other neighborhoods in downtown. And we are keen to work with the state to build a bridge and not have a barrier. And as we proceed, we want to make sure that we are mindful, as the senator said, of McCullough Homes, but all the Cecil Apartments and Bolton House. These are two large living facilities that are kind of in no man's land between Bolton Hill and McCullough Homes in downtown. So we see this as an opportunity to reunite our neighborhoods on all sides. And we look forward to working with the state to help building that bridge to Mount Vernon and downtown and the institutions in the area.
Well,
Thank you.
as long as it's not a bridge to nowhere, I think we would all be very, we look forward to seeing that. On that, there are some, I guess, some very specific sort of land use issues that would need to be addressed. Do any of the developers anticipate any, issues? What would be some of the more not necessarily conceptual, but practical challenges that you think
So right
complete such
now,
a
they
connection
right now
would
the state
happen?
hasn't identified a developer.
Mhm.
They did issue a RFP to identify a consultant to come in and pretty much take an assessment of all the buildings. Originally, when this idea came, and the Senate President was integral with the governor's office to relocate a lot of the state center facilities downtown. The original thought was just that we would just level everything and have a clean slate, which
Mhm.
we've since discovered some of the buildings, like the building that housed Maryland Department of Health, has underground garages, and the cost of excavating those underground garages with the concrete and all that's involved might be a little costly. And so the consultant is currently assessing all of the buildings, the environmental issues, the engineering issues, as well as ASME and some of our state labor unions have brought concerns of the conditions of some of the buildings and some of the environmental factors. And so there's going to be a complete assessment of all of those things. We are anticipating, or at least the department is anticipating, that by the end of March they will have a full report of what their assessment has discovered. And so although they don't have a developer in place at the moment, we thought it's important to put this community advisory group together, so as information become available, they have an identified group of stakeholders in the community that's around the potential development area that can help inform what's going on and could be the recipient of whatever information and progress that's being made.
Okay, sounds
I
good.
think critical to this assessment is the transportation issue.
Yes.
Not only the hub that exists, but Howard Street and Dauphin and Martin Luther King are very dangerous intersections. And
Absolutely.
my wife actually was hit by a car on Howard Street. So I think
Wow.
part of this puzzle is making sure this area is walkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, pedestrian safety is definitely a challenge across the city at various things. Any comments or questions for the senator on this bill? Otherwise, thank you so much. So the hearing, our hearing is ended here.
Thank you, Lee.
My pleasure. Thank you.
I'll recognize Senator McCray. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, I thought I saw you. Okay.
I was reaching out because we have a bill that was heard in my respective committee that is currently with this body at the moment in reference to the pilot bill for downtown, and was just seeing if we could take a vote. I do have an amendment for it, Madam Chair, that Katie Lee has, and I believe Senator Hayes may have an amendment too.
Okay. So if there isn't any opposition, I'd like us to hear the secretary, and then we can give that. And I know there's some hard stops for people. So, secretary, if we reach that hard stop, we might need to break if our conversation is so engaging that neither of us want to break. Might take a break to take care of that business and continue on it if that's okay with you.
Madam Chair, I got a hard stop at 9:30. So
yes,
if there's still a discussion around 9:25, I would like to take care of that piece of business. But if not,
well,
I'll wait.
Senator, I think I just said that. So, um, great. So, Secretary, thank you. Good morning, Transportation Acting Secretary Thompson. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join our delegation and discuss some really critical issues having to do with transportation investments in Baltimore City. As you're aware, we sent a letter on behalf of our delegation mid-February, really requesting a down payment in the capital and operating budget to really kickstart some of our initiatives, including but not excluding the Be More bus plan, and also to have a much more a comprehensive long-term funding strategy. So I really appreciate your response letter that you sent the delegation, where you mentioned the 14 million allocation, and you're talking about the construction of sort of a fifth bus division, and cited some work that you've done with Senator McCray on shaping some legislation this year. But we're, as many of us are aware, there's definitely needs for improvement for the benefit of the audience. Over 80% of riders do not have access to a vehicle. In the general, even for those who don't use the system because of some of the delay challenges, et cetera, at least almost, a third of Baltimore City's residents have no access to personal transportation. So we really appreciate this opportunity for the secretary to first introduce herself to us. So if you just take a minute to say who you are. And then I know that the members have some specific concerns of things happening within their district. And then we'll give you an opportunity to tell us more broadly your plan. I know you have some announcements. So
Yes.
if we could go there. So first, tell us who you are, where you're from, how is it that you have become the nominee to be the Secretary of Transportation for the state of Maryland?
Sure. Well, thank you, Chair Washington, Vice Chair Hayes, and President Ferguson, and all of you on the phone today. I've had the chance to meet some of you, but not all of you in person, but really excited about the prospects of working with you long-term to deliver tangible benefits for Baltimore. As you mentioned, Chair Washington. A little bit about me. I was born and raised in a rural town in central Illinois. Again, transit was not a thing. We did have pretty good sidewalks, so we could walk and we could bike, and obviously very heavily dependent on cars. I moved out to the East Coast and have been in the DMV area for 35 plus years. I started my career, I'm a lawyer by training. I started my career in energy and environmental law at a law firm. And during the first term of President Obama, went into the Department of Transportation to work on energy and sustainability and climate matters. And over time, picked up a much broader portfolio of all things transportation, so transportation safety, transportation investment, overseeing the DBE program as general counsel at the U.S. Department of Transportation. Then I went to Amazon for about 5 years, leading their global transportation and logistics legal team. So worldwide, all modes of transportation, first mile, middle mile, last mile. Again, countries all over the world, including all states and localities across the US. But really missed serving the public, and was able to come back to US DOT to lead implementation of the bipartisan infrastructure law and the $660 billion that US DOT received to invest in transportation. As part of that job, I worked very closely with state and local governments to get that money out the door and into hand, like building real projects and delivering for people. Ultimately, Secretary Buttigieg asked me to go to the Federal Aviation Administration, where most recently I served as Deputy Administrator of the FAA, which is a complex 24/7 operating organization with 45,000 employees. But the one thing that I hadn't done,
yes.
and the reason that brings me here, and I'm so fortunate to have Governor Moore's support, is because I haven't had the chance to deliver results and work with people at the ground level to deliver projects, programs, and outcomes. So it's really a capstone of my career to be able to take the skill sets that I've built and work with communities like the city of Baltimore to deliver those tangible results that are so desperately needed to provide opportunities for everyone wherever they live. And as you mentioned, Chair Washington, Baltimore is heavily transit dependent. It has been underinvested in for years. We have made lots of promises, and I say we because there have been a lot of different we's in the game over the years, but all of us. And it is time, and I take it to heart from what I've heard from President Ferguson and Senators McCray and Hayes. It's time to get serious, and it's time to deliver results. Stop the promises, stop the plans on paper that look nice and say all the right things, and get to work to deliver results. So in that vein, let me just
let me just
ahead.
before now. So I know you have, I want to give people an opportunity to maybe to incorporate, in some of your remarks, some specific concerns. I know you're prepared to discuss more about the Be More plan, but there are some other issues. So as well. So I just wanted to give each senator an opportunity to get on record. Are there very specific transportation challenges within your district that you'd want to bring to the attention of the secretary and look forward to working with her on? Yes, go ahead, Senator Hayes.
Yeah, I guess I could start, Madam Chair, and thank you so much, Madam Secretary, for coming here this morning. I couldn't have articulated better than my very own constituent, Mr. Lee Taney, as it relates to State Center. I think that's a huge opportunity in Baltimore for us to leverage the metro station, the bus routes, as well as light rail, all within that core around many of our cultural institutions there. And I know MDOT has been working closely with MEDCO and the Department of General Services on that. And so look forward to your continued partnership and seeing what possibilities may come of that. Expect, and looking at all the different modes of transportation. I think what Lee articulated a little bit was the need for more pedestrian friendly transportation. And then the other thing, and we didn't talk too much about it, but you or a designee of yours serve as a board member on the West North Avenue Development Authority. And so the input that we receive there is valuable to so many communities throughout West Baltimore. Would love to have your continued support.
Great.
You have it. Thank you, Senator.
Great. Senator McCray or Attar, what opportunity to get something on the record that's been of a concern in your district?
No, I just want to say thank you to the secretary. I've been able to see it before exec noms, during the next exec noms, and a number of times afterwards. I'm excited about the announcement and just want to say look forward to continued partnership.
Great. Senator Attar?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I wanted to say the same as well. And I look forward to meeting you in person. And thank you for being here with us.
Thank you.
Well, Secretary, you and I haven't had an opportunity to meet yet, and looking forward to it. But I do want to just raise a couple things within our district, the 43rd district. The 43rd, Route 45, the State Road 45 runs through from the Baltimore County side down all the way to North Avenue. And that is the highest trafficked transportation loop or route in the state, in the entire state. And so looking forward to working with you on pedestrian safety, bicycle safety, road safety, particularly at something of Northern Parkway and York Road. That's the way that you enter into the city. In Senator McCray's district, we also, this connection between the on the county side and the city side when we're looking at Loch Raven and Hillen Road, really important for those northern portions of our district. Specifically, I'd want to talk with you about York Road, Woodburn intersection for some safety improvements. And then there's some other alignments, but we look forward to working with you. That you understand our particular, not just as the city concerns, but the centrality of Baltimore City's system as a interconnectivity for the entire region, and an economic driver for the state. So with all that, now the moment is yours, and look forward to
Well, thank you. And the one thing I will say that I've heard loudly and clearly from many of you, and the examples that you all just cited, is the importance of a safe, reliable, interconnected transportation system. And, I am just about 2 months into my job today, but the one thing that I have observed is we've got a lot of discrete plans for specific projects, but we aren't necessarily looking holistically at how the pieces connect together and ensuring people can move throughout the city, throughout the region in a safe, reliable, and an efficient way. So I'd love to have more regular conversations with all of you.
You'll set that up.
You have the subject matter expertise. You are residents of the area, and I'd love to talk to you on a more regular basis, so we can move forward together. I did want to say that I'm pleased, and this is, I think most of you already know, but to the extent others don't or haven't had the chance to tell you directly, we are going to be able to advance $24.5 million for Be More Bus in FY 2027. And that's two parts, as you mentioned, Chair Washington. $14.5 million for property acquisition for the 5th Division bus project. That was money that we had planned to spend in FY 28 and 29, but we actually, the ability to acquire the property has accelerated. So we're able to move that money forward, and we're really excited about that. The other is $10 million for design and engineering. And that will actually help us literally pencil out and plan for what the Be More Bus program would look like, and better understand what the long-term funding needs are and what it would look like. And I invite you all to be an integral part of the discussions of what that looks like, because we can only deliver success if it meets the needs of the people that you represent. But those monies will be moved forward to FY 27. And I know it's only a down payment. The other thing I want to do, with the governor's support and with the support of all of you in the General Assembly, is figure out some of the long-term funding needs for the transportation system, and including, of course, Baltimore, because we need to have a vision that we can execute on. We need to have reliable funds that are there that help us do the work that needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. So I have two sort of follow-up questions. The first is, you've heard that there's been a lot of stakeholder advocacy. So I won't necessarily say, on shaping the Be More Bus plan, but in general, transportation advocacy organizations, how will they be consulted? So the typical practice is to hire a consultant, and that consultant goes out and talks to people, and then they come back and give you a report. But I'm hearing from my constituents and a number of constituents of a more direct interest in interacting with the secretary and the policy makers. So how could you incorporate that model into how this plan is implemented and how things are developed over time?
Well, again, and I would love your input on this, but the regular engagement with the people who are most impacted, and with me and other MDOT leadership, because I learn the most from hearing directly from people as opposed to reading reports, and I learn the most from getting out and about and seeing things. So we are working on a broader plan, and that includes, in a couple of weeks or so, re-engaging with community stakeholders in what the future of the Red Line looks like. But again, not just the Red Line, how that fits into the overall transit pieces across Baltimore. So we are working on that outreach and engagement strategy, but it will be inclusive, and it will be involvement with me and other senior members of MDOT.
And it could possibly build on the model that we've had with State Center, where there is an actual community-driven advisory group that works with you on a regular basis. And again, I'm not talking about here's our plans, what do you think, which is our typical model of investment and development, but really having individuals from the community really being a part of learning at each step. So if you're open to that sort of thing, I think that could be really exciting to see a regional approach, really engaging residents and
we are more than open to it. We do not want to dictate, here are MDOT's ideas.
Right.
Pick one.
Right.
We're happy to share our ideas, but we want the community to shape what we actually decide to do.
Great. And then finally, there's often the case of us getting excited about a new plan, and we spend a lot of investment and time. However, we have a lot of deferred maintenance, repair, and replacement needs. How a good gesture, important gesture, would it be some large investment in either existing projects or actually existing repair needs. So again, we need the money to invest in the new program and 10 million in planning and all that, but we also need a significant amount to address the poor infrastructure that currently exists. How have you contemplated how we're going to increase bus service, address it now, today? Not 90 days maybe, but say, what could people see in 6 months, or see, as this new plan is developing, the maintenance of the existing system and improving the conditions for riders today?
You make a really vital point, and I have said this in other contexts, is that you can't build a new or expanded system on quicksand. So it is really, really essential that we continue to invest in the existing system. State of good repair, safety will always be top, state of good repair. And the Moore Miller administration has really made it a historic investment in shoring up that foundation. We have more limited dollars, as you noted, for expansion and new, but we are covering roughly 90% of the state of good repair safety needs for the system. And again, we should look holistically at the system, not just the light rail or the bus, but it needs to be the broad system and connectivity. And again, and the other thing I would say is I had the chance to talk to Mayor Scott last night. The city of Baltimore is a critical partner in all this too. So again, we don't want to come in and say this is MDOT's vision and this is what it's going to be. It has to be a partnership, a collaboration, and each of us has different roles and responsibilities, and all of us are responsible for ensuring positive and lasting outcomes.
Well, thank you so much. I believe that is, I don't know if Senator McCrae's hand is still up, but I was getting ready to end this portion of our meeting. Okay.
Yeah, I was just and with the time. That's it.
So, right. So, are there members of your team that are here? You can introduce real quickly, and then we'll let you go as we continue.
Yes, Samantha Biddle is on. I think she's.
Yeah, I see her. Who is?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Chichi Nyaga Nash, who is our deputy chief of staff in the governor's office, who supports us at MDOT, and she's a phenomenal resource, not only because she's brilliant in her own right, but she's really plugged into the governor's office and helps ensure we get the support we need to do the good work that we are doing and hope to continue doing.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all. I'll allow you to leave us as we go on with the business of our business for today. Again, thank you so much, Secretary. We all look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I hope your recovery continues to go well. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So there was a motion to consider a vote on Senate bill. Senator McCray, would you remind us of the bill number so that we can?
756.
Okay. And would you give us a brief summary of what that bill does?
Yes, Madam Chair. As you heard last Friday, the Baltimore City Economic Development Project in Downtown Rise District, payment in lieu of taxes, sets up a vehicle where we have the ability for our downtown area that has been going having more challenges, maybe headed in the wrong direction, but just making sure that we can be able to set up a pilot system in that specific geographic footprint.
Mm-hmm, and ask committee staff, so again that the viewers will understand, what is a pilot system? If we could describe that, or if the senator can describe it, or
It's a payment. Go ahead.
It's a payment in lieu of taxes agreement. And
Mhm.
so this bill would require the owner of the economic development program to demonstrate to the satisfaction of Baltimore City that is conducted an economic analysis of the project, including the assessment of financial necessity for this exemption under the pilot.
I appreciate you jumping in with that really quickly. Wanted to make sure. So this would be a payment in lieu of taxes. So these would be entities that would pay taxes, but in lieu of paying taxes as a way of incentivizing investment, they essentially get a tax break. And Senator Cray, I understand that this is we're being asked to do this, and that it's a necessity. The BDC, the Baltimore Development Corporation, and Otis Rowley, our new head, really sees this as vital to restoring the downtown.
Yes, ma'am. Last Friday, you had Otis Rowley, you had Shalonda Stokes from Downtown Partnership, you had Jen from the Aquarium, you had the Convention Center, you had a number of folks that understand that our downtown have to be one of the strengths in the city of Baltimore.
Okay, with that, I'll entertain a motion.
I did have an amendment, if I can.
Oh, great.
Madam Chair. During the hearing, folks were very sympathetic in the Budget and Tax Committee. The chair made the recommendation, how about we do this as emergency legislation, so that way we don't have to wait for it to take place or wait for it can go immediately once the governor signs it into law. Ms. Cannon has that amendment, but I can read the amendment number.
We understand emergency, so that would be good. I know the time is going for you. Are there any other amendments, Senator McCray?
I believe so.
Hayes.
One.
Madam Chair, I think this is great. I sit on Visit Baltimore's board as well as Downtown Partnership board. Many of the properties in downtown, especially the larger ones, are suffering greatly. And so I think this provides another economic development tool to bring back the vibrancy and the foot traffic that we so desperately need in the city's core. However, I do think that we will need an opportunity to evaluate its success at some time. And so what I would like to offer up, and I don't have it written right now, but hopefully we could accept
conceptually, yes.
Yeah, is a 10-year sunset on this to force it to come back to the delegation and give us a progress report on what's going on.
Sounds good. And I'll just say I appreciate it, and I understand, all this. I guess, yeah. So we have a motion for
move the amendments.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of the amendments?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm a no on it. I just want to explain that I never vote for payments in lieu of. I haven't supported it with Johns Hopkins University. I haven't supported in a number of contexts. I'm able to make this vote because I know you all are all voting for it. But we will record it as a 4-1. Okay. All right. Yes, Senator Attar.
Madam Chair, can we take a quick vote on another bill as well? There's no amendments. It was my stop sign bill from last week.
Yeah.
So waiting.
I think we have time on Monday, absolutely, to do that. I understand that there wasn't a vote last Monday. It kind of got us backed up. But this was an exception. We knew about it ahead of time. So we'll just restore to our, this should have been voted on Monday.
So we will be
restore
meeting
our-
Monday and taking a vote.
Absolutely.
Okay, because I know I've been told
We will
twice
go-
that a bill would be heard today.
This won't, yes. We will
Okay,
take
I just
care of
want on the
everything.
record that we'll vote for it on
The
Monday.
chair, the
It's waiting
chair
in
is
committee.
very aware of the crossover deadlines. The chair
Thank
is
you.
very aware. And so do not worry. We will ensure that even if I am not there, which I'm still not able to attend in person, those will be on the voting list. Elijah's there for that.
Madam Chair, I think Elijah may have circulated a draft agenda already. I'm not sure, but it might be helpful just to send it out again.
Yeah, Senate, again, I'm
Because
back.
a lot
I'm
of
back.
things that people are requesting from you have
Yes,
already been
I
taken care of.
am back in the saddle, you all, okay?
Madam
All right,
I just want to say thank you for being back in the saddle. I'm a jump, but I wanted to lean in and say thank you. That's all.
no problem. And we can all take care of this after the meeting because we've completed our work. And again, it's good for our constituents to see that just like you, we are people, and those of you who've sat in our meetings, you know that we make sure that there's progress and that there are procedures that are followed. But we have something that's called crossover, where all the bills that the Senate intends to pass favorably need to be voted out on the floor. So that's what you're hearing, is that people want to make sure that the bills we support, that the committees know that the delegation supports them, and that they get on their voting list and out and sent on to the House. So I assure you that we will work that out.
Yeah.
All right. Any other business for the good of the group? Again, thank you as always. We have Nina Themelis is here, and Alana, and all of our Donna, the Baltimore commissioners, school commissioners were there. So without any other concerns or issues, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
Move for adjournment.
I'm sure there's a second. We are okay. All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. See you all next week. Take care.